Hey everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to another exciting episode of the podcast, The Future of Web. As most of you would know by now, the idea of Future of the Web podcast is to uh, enable users to know more about this technology. So we bring a lot of founders, investors, inventors, creators, designers, developers, anybody who's working within this space to come and talk about, how their product or services is impacting this space. All right. So yeah, so that's the reason why we are here, and we have a very, very, very fantastic guest. Let me just give you a little introduction about him. My name is Alek, as you all can see, and I'm the founder of Animo Solution. So about the guest, he's a self-taught software engineer and entrepreneur. He's a leader in the Web3 space. He's the founder of Algorithm, which is a patented AI plus VR metaverse art and music software, and Beach and Media, which is a Web3 marketing agency. He's also a scholar, speaker, and an influencer passionate about AI, VR, and the future of technology. He's been featured on Columbia University, New York Engineering, Entrepreneurship, Startup, Start Me Up Bootcamp 2023. He was a researcher at Copenhagen Business School and author of 17 scientific articles, a book, and 15 blog posts published on famous websites. He's a Forbes 30 under 30 finalist in 2022. He's a World WEF, which is World Economic Forum Davos 2024 keynote speaker. So Dr. Suren Movsisyan is featured in NAS Daily Show, and in top journals, governments and adjacent institutions documents, world's top universities and research institutions in 15 languages across 40 countries. Suren has over 100,000 followers and has an influencer. So let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Suren. Hi Suren, how are you?
Hi, Alec. It's really honestly pleasure. I know this meeting was very anticipated, and I really appreciate your follow ups and support as well. So finally, we made it, and I'm really excited to be with your audience. So
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much. We've been trying to, make sure that, we get time and we have common time so that we can get you on the podcast. So thank you so much again for coming in. I was always looking forward to this discussion because, I would say, at such a young age, you're very, very accomplished,
Thank you.
right? So it's natural to know a little bit about you. And so as a customer, any guest that I have on this podcast, I will usually ask them a little secret, which you can easily share with the world. Something
100%.
that not many people know. So please go ahead.
So yeah, I think I'll start from my early childhood. A little
Hmm.
bit secret about me, just so I don't know. I think I was having a little bit different kind of thought process, thinking process since the early days. So first of all, I was very attached to games, right? Like I would sit in my room just all the time, kind of long hours and hours playing games. But I was playing games with this a bit smart methodology, and I was playing chess since I was a kid, like 2 3 years old. I know Indians, Armenians are like brotherly nations. They love playing chess, and like we have a lot
Yes.
of world chess champions. So chess, I was until the first level, so chess champion in kind of regional olympiads and featured. I think my points were over 2,000 or something, which was quite high at that young age as well. But it helped me a lot with algorithmic thinking and AI, and also dividing and conquering like these complex projects into small components, and then coming up with out of the box kind of solutions earlier than obviously the world. So I was always early in different kind of innovations, inventions, and kind of methodologies. Even in my PhD dissertation already back in 2013, I created the first AR AR kind of an analytical applications for both Android and iOS, and I invested in
Uh-huh.
big alcohol beverages companies, so people could use my devices, step into their museums or stores, shops, like two companies, two big companies,
Uh-huh.
especially. So one of them was a big wine brandy vodka producer. The second one was a beer company. So people could easily scan, let's say, the red wine or white wine, and see which complementary or substitute goods are going well with that. So, for example, if it's a white wine, maybe this type of fish or that type of fish goes well with that. With all the
Uh-huh.
tap of a button, they could just click and kind of get the information redirected to their website. So that for me was how the marketing should be done. And always my passion was lying in between the tech and marketing. So
Uh-huh.
I was coding when I since I was a kid, right? So I started my first website by building these different WooCommerce sites. I remember selling some shoes and kind of clothes back in God knows, I think past 15 years ago or maybe 17 years
Yeah.
ago, first ventures that I
Yeah.
did. Then after that, I was very much involved in the gaming and game development as well. That's how my passion kind of got transferred also to the metaverse industry. So I could
Mhm.
kind of predict early then already with these kind of portals and some sort of a physical with the virtual metaverse world. You know, they're like different portals. We'll talk also a little bit about this new exciting technologies and stuff. But I was always kind of I could see it in my dreams or either like a vision. I could see this gonna happen seriously. I was talking to
Yeah.
some other visionary mentors like Nick
Uh-huh.
Spencer and others I had on my personal podcast, and like that type of people believed in my kind of stuff. They were never thinking, oh, it's crazy, because you know people like them are also crazy. You see my point? Just building, let's say, Bitcoin Center next to the New York Stock Exchange, just 100 meters next to it. It's definitely the type of person you want to share and
Okay.
kind of get his feedback and ideas as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
something. Yeah, I think I'm really thankful to my mentors and as well, like being surrounded with other smart people at this caliber. And also, I was working with literally with C-level founders who made a lot of famous shows on Netflix, like the former C-level people from Disney, from Netflix, from Sony, and from even Amazon. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think I was lucky in that regard as well to get this industry first knowledge from those top people. And also I was always I never save money on education and continuous learning, right? That's how in this young age I was able to achieve such results, which for me, honestly, I'm a humble person. I don't like kind of, you will see from my LinkedIn, I usually don't even
Yeah.
time to post all the updates and stuff, because I'm now today I'm going to share even more exciting updates that you can't see obviously from my LinkedIn, because
Yes.
I don't like sharing too much. Basically, let the world speak about that, and kind of, and even for Forbes, right? I didn't do any effort. They put me there, so I just made until the finals. So at the time for Forbes, by the way, I was early on this AI and the blockchain, social media plus AI music
Uh-huh.
platform. So I was
Uh-huh.
featured under AI and the entertainment category. So it's very clear to the viewers as well how they started and where it goes basically. So yeah, that's some of my secret sources. So while playing games, Alec, I was always finding the ways. I forgot to finish that part, but I was finding the ways to be the first on the leaderboard, but with a smart way, right? Like for example, there I remember playing a volleyball game. You could see the projection of the ball falling on the opponent's field.
Good.
It's
Yeah,
kind
opposite
of
side.
a growth hack, how you can hack while even the ball comes. You understand from where to go defend or to attack. So people, that's, but it was also not that they weren't that happy to play with me, right? Obviously, I wasn't a favorable opponent for a lot of kids, especially at my age. So they will be too dismotivated. I also remember this Mortal Kombat and this type of like Tekken or these Medal of Honors, like shooting games and stuff. I was
Yeah.
always finding some irrational ways, but I don't know, it was my gut feeling or something, but I was able to win there. And then that thinking led me to realize to jump on this AI bandwagon early. So I started learning intensively Python, AI, machine learning, these kind of different modules in Java
Uh-huh.
and stuff. So that lead me to build my generative AI platform. It's a generative AI music, video, code, and also text prompting platform. So even before ChatGPT released these custom GPTs, I already had my generative platform, and then my AI music software was live since 2018. So you understand how
Wow.
early it was. And then I already secured a lot of Sony label top artist deals, like with Girl and World and some others,
Uh-huh.
like the Metaverse concerts, like Team Salute. So we'll talk about it later on
Oh,
as
absolutely. No, so are you the person running behind ChatGPT? Your model is running behind ChatGPT?
this one. No, actually, no. That's like basically 2018 model. No, any chat GPT. You can even like who knew about chat GPT back then, right? So I built everything. So
Exactly.
every code on the Python level is custom built AI software, and until now it's in the patent kind of processes. You can't trust, especially at this level. I got reached out even with top celebrities I met in Davos. I don't want to
Uh-huh.
tell their names and stuff, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
met me. Those are people who basically were syncing with Shakira and others. I at least now, still now, I didn't pronounce his name, but you see my point. That's the level of celebrities I'm interacting pretty often,
Yeah,
and why
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
also very top on is celebrity level interactions, because I built the world's second largest clubhouse club. So
Mm.
right now it has around 70,000 followers, and most of them are celebrities actually. So through that, I got introduced to a lot of top singers, viral producers. So it was kind of naturally, basically, the God was showing me the way to kind of evolution my product and use my network. So basically, how you leverage on your network to go to the next level and then next level. So that lead me also to the collaborative kind of presentation to Emporio Armani back in 2022 May. So
Mm-hmm.
with my close friend Ludovica Gualtieri from her Milano Sustainable Fashion Business, and in collaboration with Instituto Marangoni in Milan, we prepared
Uh-huh.
the world's first use case for Emporio Armani, basically. So I don't know any other metaverse viewers, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anyone else presented to Armani at their space. So I put Emporio Armani in my metaverse space with a VR fashion show. It was entitled American Asians. It was
Mm-hmm.
very unique show with 6, 7 models. And then even back then, Aleph, what was very unique, I put my own AI meta human Cassandra AI. So I have my AI influencer back since 2021 or something. Since even at the time, no one was speaking that much about AI influencers and stuff. I built that AI influencer. So she's featured in a lot of top businesses like Bitcoin Center New York, then this
Mm-hmm.
money space.
Uh-huh.
So I've done a lot of.
Fantastic. So, and now we have, this AI, avatars competition, like fashion competition.
Exactly.
Fashion walk is quite common right now. So you've done that, way before it became a norm, right? Way before Hey Gen came
Yeah,
into the
years
picture,
before,
right?
like I so it's in my patented, but I started filling patents years ago, and it's even in the PhD part already. So I've done it since 2013 basically, so to be very precise, so already almost 11 years plus. And then
Uh,
I wrote it in my scientific articles as well, Aleph. Like I wrote it since then. It got peer reviewed. These top tier articles take years to be published.
uh-huh.
That got published
Exactly.
in Cambodia. One of them was Build Right University 2017. But they already mentioned about the revolutionary power of AI, mixed reality, how it's gonna affect, especially in marketing and kind of the next level of sales and marketing enablement. How we can achieve through these methodologies, and that's why basically I wasn't doing that for success or anything, but people started recognizing and seeing that. Until now, I'm featured already. I will open that other secret. So I'm featured by the former CMO of Polygon on the best AI music influencers and the jury from Denmark. So I got some kind of a prize as well. Besides that, some in the form of tokens, but I'm gonna use it basically to in the to help others. Basically, I don't need honestly that thing, but recognition was nice. Like they put me with the top artists, all the top artists that you know in the Denmark level that use NFT in their history, like be the
Uh-huh.
rap
Uh-huh.
artists, music singers. So I'm one of the, and I'm basically number one on the list. Again, I don't care where they position, but there's a meaning behind that. So the first is my name, and then the others follow on that listing. So it's gonna be posted soon as well. But I'm allowed to kind of publicize because it's just a last draft. They're gonna submit it soon. But look, I don't even have time to post it. So
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 that's a
many.
so that's a lot of secrets coming out,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
then that's
So
that's quick, good. So what will use me, I'll straight away jump, to what you've been doing best, like what do you think is the next wave of internet protocols, and how do you see their
uh,
impact on the connectivity, like because we all talk about interoperability, especially in the web3, different ecosystems talking to each other, Polkadot, Cosmos trying to build and bridge the gap. So what do you see, in the future, since you've
that's an
already been
excellent
wave ahead?
question.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I think we need to see more DAO model emerging with the like social media platforms. I was trying, honestly, again, early there to bring some DAO model with the support of ZAP protocol, like their oracles and third-party independent validators. It's founded by Nick Spanos, again, my mentor. Like he built that back in 2017. So we're kind of trying to mix match two companies together and come up with some early models there as well. But what I'm seeing more, look, this kind of a bit of a, I wouldn't be scared to say, but big companies becoming more and more greedy. as I was running over $15 million paid ads in my kind of track record. I know on a high level how this ads and complex stuff works. So the more we transition towards kind of the new era, the more we see that these giant companies are increasing the margins substantially, and it becomes more and more expensive to drive traffic to your website. And also because of the clashes, between Apple and Facebook recently, like with this API support. Now, if you say, let's say, ask app not to track, if you hide your tracking parameters, it's very hard for marketers to already justify to the team the numbers, etc., etc. So a lot of such clashes will happen. I think the alternative is decentralized social media networks that's gonna raise, and on the logic of DAO and these crowdfunding models, and how we can support the creator economy basically there, but based on the decentralized voting system, in a way that it should be able to somehow filter out the bots. But still, I think we need to find a way to favorably give back to the creators as well. Not that they need to have 90% of the pie and then give you only a few percentage for your
Uh-huh.
creative work. So I think something like that should arise soon. That's my prediction for the next period of time. And then we will see AI robots. I think it's already you see in the army and the other levels, but I think in our day-to-day activities, like for example, my friends were in Japan. They showed me some videos, like even in the waiter level, there were
Yeah,
AI.
restaurants in China also, they're doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I was early there as well. I invested my Cassandra AI model as a 3D model. So like you could scan, and then the 3D, she would be like your travel guide.
Uh-huh.
I even did another secret. I sent to Airbnb a letter a few years ago.
Uh-huh.
I said I want Cassandra to be a travel guide there. Until now, I haven't received the message back. But I was kind of trying to feature Cassandra AI as a tour guide. I'm like, why not, right? So if the human can be a tour guide, why not the AI human can be guiding tourists in Milan, in Copenhagen, or whatever, right? So I don't know. I mean, look, they are not managing to follow up. They are just so big. This kind of how to say, like, bureaucracy is very high, especially at that level of
Yeah,
companies. So they just
exactly.
kind of have their one thought process. If you are out of that thought process, then you become kind of a idle developer, builder, or something. But
Yeah.
something crazy like that happened as well. Basically, I'm still waiting for the response from the Airbnb team to understand if I'm allowed or not. Because look, I don't want to end up also in legal scrutinization, but those people who were crazy enough to drive forward the revolution were those who didn't wait for the permissions. You see my point?
Exactly.
It's like how the first airplane started flights, or the first train started the ride. Like all these
Uh-huh.
stories, those brothers that kind of put it in the track place without necessarily asking or waiting for permissions. Waiting and asking for permissions might be, I don't know. I mean, it's just like you might be like an average person doing the average stuff, but you want to try to be a driver, and just educate and show with your example that it's possible.
Exactly. So what happens is, inside of the regulation, what happens is whenever you try and come on platforms like, you can have your own YouTube channel, you can have your own Twitter Spaces, podcasts like these. So that is where you educate your audience. And once the audience is educated enough, sometimes that drive for innovation for big companies come from the audience. Like somebody must have heard your ideas or someone's ideas. They will go and have connections with, say, Airbnb. That's what you mentioned, and go and tell them, okay, there's this guy who's trying to reach you, to do that. So that also are ways, because to be honest, it's always safer to stay within regulations. We know what's happening within the Web3, especially with Binance being CZ will is being
FTX as well. Yeah, yeah,
there's
it's crazy.
FTX issues and stuff like that. So all that is for general good, right? But that should not be stifling innovation. And for innovation, like what you said was a fantastic example. So like in Metaverse, we use something called as NPC, like the non-playable characters.
Exactly.
They act as tour guides, right, for that Metaverse space. You go and ask them questions, and you can train those models now, with ChatGPT and other Llama, and like different AI models. So that's what we're doing. So I think it's going to be very, very immersive, right, is what I see the way it's going right now. And yeah, with that, the next question, I want to cover quite a lot of stuff.
That's
So what do you see, the emerging trends, okay, so we've kind of understood, what's how the global connectivity is going to look like in future, and what protocols people are building. Before that, do you think Farcaster is kind of the answer for what you just mentioned, like decentralized platforms for social engagement?
sorry.
Farcaster. Have you heard about
Forecaster, to be honest,
Forecaster?
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
heard about this one, but my friend sent me something was social 2.0 or something. This social or something. Deso network or something. If you heard about, yeah, that one I tested. I can say, but yeah,
Mhm.
share with me your like have you tested for Custer? I haven't tested that one, but I tested this Deso something like Deso
Yeah,
this one.
so Desktop is more like a social blockchain. Farcaster
Yes.
is more like an application or like Twitter, where you can actually
Okay.
engage. I mean, they say it's decentralized. Some of my friends have already on it, so
Okay.
maybe yeah, so we can chat back. But anyhow, so let's go to the next part.
Yeah.
Where do you see the emerging trends coming in Web3? So okay, we've all talked about blockchain. We've all talked, know about cryptocurrency. We have a amalgamation of metaverse, which is with NFTs and social logins or your soul-bound tokens, right? But
Mhm.
what's next? What are the trends which are heading in Web3, decentralization, and also very important is user sovereignty. Where it's like where do I own my content? Do you
Yes.
see any of the new trends coming in that regard?
That's an excellent question. So I see basically. Let's start from the last question. So with the sovereignty and the authorization of data ownership and stuff, we see more and more scrutinized approaches on different levels. But that's expected. They might say, look, you need that data to have better app experience, but I mean, there should be a level in that as well, right? Like as much you always, in my opinion, just to be precise, I'm not for too much sharing, but also not for sharing everything, right? So I think we need to have that golden average standard. So, but then people needs to be given a choice to select what they share. Sometimes I'm reading very annoying stories that just this application by default need to track all your data to provide you, let's say, personalized
Yeah,
recommendations on train or something. But I'm like, did they really ask me? Or was it hidden in the customer kind of privacy policy? Why is this even a thing that by default people became from creator economy into more like consumer economy? They just randomly put the button, don't even waste their time reading what they share, what they don't share. I think we are reaching to that dangerous, alarming level, I would say, Aleph. So I think the
yeah,
same way they are trying to regulate AI, which I'm totally in for that. I mean, I'm even trying to help like with the ethical AI and like different regulatory points, like on the patent level. But something like that needs to be also on the other side, right? So I think this formula has two players. It's not only us builders building and then they need to try to regulate us, but also how about the others who have already live stuff, mostly the big corporation companies, but they already say you give us this level, right? So I think it's becoming more and more aggressive and visible already. So I think we need to sit both worlds together and try to find a consensus and mechanism that is also taking into consideration the user feedback, how much they need to give to get back, right? We never had these surveys, man, right? Like if you look in a global level, the same Europe or other continents or Asia, like India Pacific or other
yeah.
regions, we never have this data. Did they ever interview people? How much data they want to share? The privacy consent? No, I mean honestly, in a big level on Statista or others or like KPMG and PricewaterhouseCoopers, I was researching, but no precise kind of information on those points. So that's also another thing to have a choice to trust to decentralized platforms, right? Honestly, here just for the audience, simple words how this blockchain and then data nodes and stuff work. It's just basically the computers that are running the nodes in the back and keeping the system operational, right? Maybe okay, you
Yeah.
don't trust 100 computers, but there are hundreds of thousand computers. I think look, the error level and the probability of scam and being kind of your data misuse is so small versus if just it's a one centralized place where your all your data is kind of kept there, right? Like
Yeah.
just as a rational simple person, would you rather trust hundreds of thousands of nodes that are spreading your customer data throughout different decentralized network of computers devices rather than just one place where, and then you see on this even in these conversations recently, again I won't tell the names and stuff, but you see big countries like banning this social and that social from here there. So more and more it's becoming, I think, the game of track and traceability of users rather
Yeah.
than from the core concept of social media, how it was supposed to do, right? Like the engage, benefit the whole society in terms of learning experiences and kind of speeding up their growth, personal kind of
Yeah.
growth and efficiency. Now it became more like no, you represent this country, you have this data, that country has this data, and like so it's just becoming like yet another hustle. So I think we need to draw at some point the line and say let's stop and let's kind of seriously concentrate on innovation, kind of driving forward the technological know-how, regardless of where you are based or where you're coming from, or it doesn't matter, right? Like it shouldn't. So that's the unique thing why the internet was created, right? Like remember the evolution of Web3, right? So it started as a basic model, then Web2 was like you didn't have user ownership, you could just order some stuff with Amazon and stuff, and then
Yeah.
after Web3 with decentralized wallets and blockchain and also attention to the MetaMask, you got also your own bank and your own kind of a, let's say your own bank, let's be precise, you still need regulation, the power with centralized to operate, but still more autonomous ways have been created to enrich your experience. So for me, Web4, Web5, I will be more towards that experiences rather than the blockage wars, like between let's kind of block this, now let's open this because you look nicer. So just kind of something like this, I think should stop, and we need to draw a clear line and then take it from there.
So
Would you repeat the other question you had besides the data security and
yeah, so that's about, I was saying, like how do you see AI and machine learning, because now
yes,
everybody's talking about
that's
AI and you've done your research in that. How does that impact, our interactions and
that's a
yeah,
great.
basically our interaction.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what modern, a lot of, let's take the same niche that I'm represented, a lot of modern crowdfunding or social media platforms miss. The same, I'm sure your model that you just said, it's probably similar to this. So they are missing that personalization component that can come with machine learning algorithms or kind of some complex unsupervised or supervised learning models that we can inject to the system, right, on the API level
Yeah,
or at least on the custom level. Look, so for you, let's say they could see Aleph is using this. Let also recommend him maybe more customized approach. What if we mix match this influencer with that influencer, come up with a middle layer of influencer? So
yeah,
maybe you want to hear from this influencer his lifestyle advice. From the other one, you want to learn his tech advice. So who is that guy basically who sits in the middle, who combines both influencers in one
yeah, yeah,
persona? And then
yeah,
this is something, I mean, another thought for the people to build, but I see less of that kind of customization, which is in nowadays. Look, consumption of video and content has decreased so substantially. People only want to spend a few seconds kind of reading, watching, and snipping over the content that they consume, right? So
yeah,
I think with more of that coming, we need more of such AI intervention to again minimize the time, maximize the efficiency that we get, and then on the other levels, just like I said, I think the robots with clear AI instructions and embedded brain powers with this Neuralink and others kind of trying to bring the chips and stuff. And then Sweden and Denmark are obviously one of the pioneers when it comes there. I think the first guy in the company was that injected into his hand was a Swedish guy.
mhm,
But yeah, I mean, I think look, our societies are very much ahead of the general curves, like when it comes to automation and these technologies. So
exactly,
like here,
yeah,
like the same cars, like we're here with Tesla type of cars, so many years ago, like with this autonomous kind of trains and stuff. We're here many years even before Dubai was a thing. It was a thing here for let's say 10 or 8 years at least in advance than compared to Dubai, for example. Because look, Dubai is very nice. I'm also very inspired by their story, but we need to also look at the pioneers who were first, even before them, basically, just to be precise on the learning curve. But that's that, Aleph, and I think in conjunction, so we shouldn't be scared, but we should be alarmed how the technology should be used, right? The technology and robots, you also see some alarming stories like there's like imagine the same robot army or stuff, right? You never know like in which hands how it's gonna be used. So I think that's also somehow we need to have the same regulation. Besides that, they keep talking about patenting and other stuff, but also how about understanding that AI is for good, right? Like or maybe
yeah,
having some sort of a treaties or something. So for example, for the same climate treaty, there is Paris climate treaty or
yeah,
similar. Yeah, I think we need some sort of a parity on that and treaties as well to have a global equilibria. Otherwise, you see how quickly these AI models are being trained, right? The next model, I was reading that Apple is really going to release something that's more powerful than ChatGPT 4, and then GPT-4 is preparing GPT 4.5, and then when they release 4.5, GPT 4 is going to be free for public. Then there is this other kind of the Facebook Llama and other models, as you mentioned. So I don't know, man. I think it's becoming quite wild, like in Wild West. So
Yes.
we need to basically come up with some parities or treaties to try to bring all these different model builders on the table and agree on some
Yeah.
standards. Yeah, that's just on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the way I see it is, like I'll just
Yeah,
bring
sure.
about the essence is that when the social media started, it was all about social interactions, right? It was
Exactly.
me and you connecting and learning with each other, and
Yes.
how to enhance our lives. But the way it seems right now is turning out to be, okay, yours is one type of data, mine is one type of data, and how can we push, make him more consumer? I think it's
100%.
driving towards more consumerism, and how can we extract some few more, say currency or dollars, or like whatever your
Sometimes,
local currency is
Alex,
out
sorry
of
for
you.
interrupting, I think even they read your mind. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you can also comment on that. Seriously, man. I mean, yeah. What do you think about that? Don't you think
That's
sometimes?
what that's what they're getting. And when Apple came out, not Apple, this Amazon came out with their own Alexa, right?
Mhm.
And there was a very good smart a joke, I think, by some guy. He was talking about, so I was talking to my wife, and I'm not naming names here. I was
Mhm.
talking to my wife, and Alexa heard, and then Alexa laughed, my wife laughed, and I laughed. Something like that. What they're trying to
Yeah.
say is that these models they were listening to you. With more hue and cry, with more public opinion, they're trying to control that, but they're listening, right? So you and I are talking about shoes, and the next thing that you see on Instagram or any social platform you go to, you see the ads of shoes, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Whatever you. So this means that there's a privacy breach. They're trying to collect as much data as possible,
Mhm.
and to do that, okay, so you and I are still a little more aware about it. I will not
Mhm.
say fully aware, maybe a little more aware.
Yeah, yeah,
But
sure.
if you look,
Obviously.
most of the public out there who is just consumers, pure
Mhm.
consumers of different social media
Mhm.
platforms, they're not aware of what's happening,
Yeah.
how they are being, how the data is being used. The same thing, I want to bring that. What's this guy's name? The one who came out with ChatGPT, OpenAI CEO, Sam
Sam Altman.
Altman.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he came out with some world coin, right? Where everybody was ready to scan their
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
irises, and people were lining up for a few dollars, in all countries, right? And I mean, they tried in India as well, but I think there was a little, again, hue and cry and public opinion, and then I think that's when they
Mhm.
stopped. But what people are not realizing is that few for few, maybe $100, you are
Mhm.
giving your, like, your eye scan, which is
Exactly.
your private. I mean, a lot of documentation now is done using your retinal scan and your thumbprint.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're giving
Even
that
your
away
bank
for
account can be accessed with your iris. You see my point? So.
exactly. So that awareness needs to be brought, and that's where I think regulation will play a very big role, right?
Mhm.
So in the circles that meet and meet people, where do you see the regulation on AI coming into the picture? We know that people are already talking about regulation on cryptocurrencies, right? Just to make sure that they formalize it. Now ETFs are coming in,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
people's opinions are changing, but what about AI?
So yeah, that's an amazing observation. Thank you, Alec. I totally support all your thoughts, and I'm also really alarmed. Yeah, let's make this conversation. I'm always, like podcasts. I want to be as humanistic and as transparent with the public as possible, because we are literally here trying to as human beings solve the same issues that consumers are facing on day-to-day basis. Because at the end of the day, we are also consumers, right? We want that or not, but we also
Yeah.
need to help with that. On that, I think European Union got something with also the CBDC and something like a blockchain and MiCA regulatory. Just so you touched also crypto and blockchain aspects. So that MiCA thing is becoming large. Like they are just kind of they're
Hmm.
hearing, trying to understand on the European Union level how that those kind of blockchain and crypto transactions are going to be regulated. It's arising more like from the CBDC perspective, like central banks also want to create their, or not one, but several central banks already created their central bank
Yeah.
digital currency. Is basically they are using their own the ledger. I would say I wouldn't call it blockchain because it's centralized ledger basically.
Mhm.
So it's staying in their servers. So it's just yet another way to reinvent their existing currencies, to saying, look, we are adopting to new technology. But
Yeah.
absorbing doesn't necessarily mean it's good, right? Like it can be good or bad. Like let's not tell the subjective or objective things, but yeah, we need to be everything taking, just like you said, in with cautiousness and with research and understanding, right? What is
Oh,
good.
yes, exactly. So people are calling it programmable currency.
Yes,
So I see a good side to it and I see a bad side to it.
exactly.
Like there are obviously two coins, right? And still it's being developed. One is that, that the distribution for grants, the distribution for people can be easier, right? Where
Mhm.
there's no control, which is more like the transaction because of CBDs between, countries is much faster. Right now, if you were to take, like if there's somebody makes a remittance, especially for enterprises,
And cheaper,
uh,
right, Alex? As far as I was reading, it
definitely.
can be on the blockchain.
Very cheap, very cheap. So what they're trying to do is maybe model it on the models of Bitcoin, like peer-to-peer transaction, but
Mhm.
just a little faster with a little more control,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that, right? But the
yeah,
challenge I see with that is the on the retail side of it, where people, when you're programming it, so if somebody wants to tomorrow program, in certain country, that you can use this money that is yours, you've kind of earned it with a job, and or business, but you can spend it only on this much area, or you can just spend it on particular aspect during this time. So those are obviously questions which will arise as things become much more easily accessible, right?
yeah, yeah.
And how do you see the AI playing a part here? Like obviously CBDC is going to be.
So AI regulator. I'm sorry, going back to the next question. Didn't ask, I think, answer that question. But I remember there is some ethical code of conduct or some regulatory framework that has been recently ratified by European Commission on the AI. I think Europe is for kind of quite ahead of the curve with probably with USA when it comes to AI and regulatory frameworks.
Mhm.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but on a global level, this is my kind of understanding the research perspective, and also what it's becoming more and more increasingly important and dangerous as the amount of data learning increases with these or that models, is
Yeah.
the actual patent and copyrights of people, right? Like there was a
Yeah.
strike in Hollywood. Like people are like, we don't want to AI humans and speaking elements to replace our job. Sometimes there was even, I was reading some kind of alarming stories that they wanted just this or that actor to sign this perpetual license thing or something. You pay this X amount and we own your copyright. The AI will do the rest, and kind of we don't need to hustle and kind of deal with your physical kind of interactions. But yeah, I think there's also not the way. Honestly, it's there to help them, but not to replace those people, especially those artists and high level. How can AI kind of transform from the TV the impressions, right? Like the emotions and stuff. I don't know, man. I mean, sometimes you read some stuff, even if. I hardly believe will reach it goes to that the aphoria of like a general AI. How was the term? Correct me. That was a GAI or something, right? General adversarial AI model or something that becomes that whole supercomputer brain of AI that kind of can
Oh, yeah,
create.
yeah, which kind of helps, which kind of drives your communication, drives
Yes,
your, what you feel, how you respond to things. Oh,
exactly.
yes.
Yeah, like all this kind of. But we are still far, and honestly, just bringing all that now to the table, I think it's also a bit not on time. And like instead of talking to them and sitting on a table having a precise discussion, what should be done, you don't want to aggressively suddenly kind of market that to these people, right? So I think it doesn't make sense. And then obviously in I'm building also AI humans for a lot of celebrities, the same singers that I mentioned in this podcast. I built their
Yes.
AI realistic humans as well from one picture, but technology was also very early. So I started building those AI humans since 2019. I remember.
Hmm.
Then I used my own AI human on the AI music experiment. So I was singing in my own metaverse. I had a video clip back in 2018 or 19 just released that. I was also, and then my songs are featured on Spotify, on Tinder, or on all
Yeah.
the music platforms. So it's funny, right? Like, where would you guess Dr. Suren Mosyan is also singer, a singer? But at that time, I was like, let me show you by my example, right? Because look, the adoption was so low, people were skeptical, and I was like, they started also, they question you, right? Like, why does it make
Yeah.
sense? How can you even make? I even started making money. It monetized and started paying me money from Spotify or other distribution platform. I used some distribution third parties to distribute on multiple.
Uh-huh.
I would even show investors. I'm like, look, even the money is coming, right? Like, how can you be so blind, not seeing that kind of this model definitely works? Maybe
Yeah.
it's not the best time, but you can't be also saying that it's not working, obviously, because MVP and stuff has been done. So yeah, I think, Alec, we need to be keep an eye open, but I would appreciate more dialogue, just like with experts like you, me, and our colleagues, friends from I think
Across the
recently
globe.
from on the Sharad Agarwal's great
Yes.
session.
Meta shapers. Yes.
Exactly. So I would only honestly appreciate if they could reach out to such groups like Meta Shapers, or I don't know, like there's the local AI clubs in different countries. Like, just
Yes.
literally include as many people as possible. Because even with the Sora AI model, right? Like, how we don't have a transparent information how many people has been involved and stuff. We only know that now he went to pitch it to Hollywood. But again, you see, like, given that already the aggressive stance of Hollywood artists, now you go, you pitch now another tool, like, as if it wasn't enough that AI humans will replace them. Now let's replace also video montage and kind of a video editor.
Yes.
I don't know. I think we are just heading very aggressively, very quickly to that point. And then this scarcity of computers is also very important. That, as you said, people just read on the news, they became consumers, but we need to understand that the same Amazon and stuff, what if they sell out everything to big companies? How are these small startups going to survive if they want to
Yeah.
also build their large LLM models, but suddenly they are missing out of GPUs and computing power, right? So I think that's becoming another serious concern as we progress, because you
Yes.
see reports how many are these giant or that giant companies buying from uh,
Nvidia. Nvidia.
Nvidia, yes, chips and stuff, yeah. So I think that's also kind of, we need to keep an eye open, and there as well there should be a regulatory, seriously, because how can you, especially having the unique monopolistic kind of a patent on this or that, start selling in batches to big companies, right? It becomes one or two people kind of a monopoly that can just kind of own this or that layer. So I think it's becoming already very, very dangerous in that level as well. So hopefully there's gonna be a ground so that startups will not die. Basically, seriously, I see that aggressive kind of push is coming from that side as well. I hope I was able to answer, but it's a very complicated. You agree with me? It's a
Oh
very
yes, yes, yes,
complicated
absolutely.
debate.
It's a very complicated. There's financial dynamics, social dynamics, and then the government regulation, the relationship building. And then the way the world is, like functioning as today. With different countries at loggerheads with each other. Let's call it loggerheads.
Exactly. Yeah. No. No.
And right. And
Yeah.
then so how it's going to interact, and everybody's trying to one up the other. Instead of everybody shaking hands and like trying to build it together, because I really really like this quote, that if you buy it's one of the brands in India here. When you go and buy a shop, so when you take that bag, right, it
Mhm.
says be more careful, there is no planet B. And
Yeah.
and then they've highlighted plan B, because like what they're trying to say is there's no plan B for this earth,
Yeah.
and there's no planet B, where we can go to. So what is important is that you have to stay here and
Hmm.
make sure that you live well, like your life as well as for the future generations.
Exactly.
With the over exploitation, over usage of everything. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a different question. Like, where do you draw the line of consumerism? But then there is definitely a certain amount of commonality which can easily be reached, right? And I suddenly see that both of us going towards philosophy than technology. We are all talking about philosophy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. But what can we do, man? Like, it's sometimes this in this philosophy, all these peoples as well, like the same
Yeah.
Aristotle, Socrates, like big Greek minds, and Indian, lot of kind of smart minds also, like where philosophers, right? You see my
Yeah.
point? So I
Yeah.
think philosophy and tech are very closely interrelated, in my opinion, because philosophers are the guys who could again predict the trends, and this gut feeling or something was much.
Yeah.
They had a, I think, for me, in my opinion, they had a closer touch points with the god, or you can call a god, or you can call a universe or something. So they had these touch points with the universe. And for me, I literally believe in this. I wouldn't call it maybe law of attraction or anything else, because it's a hyped out term. But there's certainly something divine that kind of surrounds us, and kind of makes these things are nothing happens. There's this thing of, let's call it karma or something divine or something that drives
Yeah.
you forward, or that something happens. Yeah, I don't believe in kind of how to say, something that happens, it was used to be happening, right? You can
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what is
yeah,
meant to happen will happen. That's how they
exactly.
say it. What is meant to
You
happen will
want
happen.
it or no, seriously, the more you try to force it back, like the more it happens, right? Like I don't know, man. I mean, seriously, I was just sitting, I had no clue they put me in also Prince Albert second list for AI music, under AI music category. I just got surprised. I'm basically listed with Mark Zuckerberg right now as we speak on the same page, the website on the Monaco Metaverse NFT World Summit, along with also ChatGPT CTO. And last year, that prize was given to Sam Altman. So you see the caliber and stuff. But I'm a humble builder. I was never kind of praising the prize or something. I wasn't building to get to that feature level or something and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it's just
Yeah, yeah, and if you notice, like all the people who have been successful, the builders, they were all, I would say, most of them are very passionate about an idea, and they were trying to build that idea, and all those things, the accolades and whatever happened outside of it
I
was
spent
was
my
an
last
outcome.
money, Alex. So if you, yeah, even my startup, I burned, and I'm willing to burn again my last money. I was a very early crypto adopter since 2013, right? Mostly with Bitcoin and stuff. So obviously, if it comes to the point that I need to burn my last money, I'll burn my last money to the vision and to show and educate the world. That's, I think, another thing that might scare a lot of people. But I think the true visionary and believers are those actually that truly believe in the next revolution, and also in their ideas and the beauty of their ideas, and they're willing to fight and kind of drive it forward at any cost. So I've done so many crazy projects that people are like, oh, it's a kind of couple of $100,000 budget, why you spend your time doing. I'm like, I don't know, because I have this kind of feeling that's coming from somewhere, that I have to be here this time, this moment, and build this. Basically, if not me, then I don't know who else gonna. Or maybe
Yeah,
I feel like I might have a good way to kind of introduce, and with all
yeah.
respect to other developers. But
No,
when
absolutely. It's
this
like a gut feeling. It's like a gut feeling.
I trust gut feeling. I was investing in a lot of projects with gut feeling. I was also working with these Antep Ventures, the venture studios, and kind of investment businesses for around 2.5 3 years. So when I was given like some sort of an analyst role to analyze this or that business, come up with recommendations, I was
Uh-huh.
investing myself somehow as well, but with the gut feeling a lot. You see my point? I was investing my time, my mentorship, my resources, my crypto, and like other uh, kind of a network with the gut feeling a lot of times. I don't know, that might sound crazy, but there are also a lot of crazy people who are super rich, but by their gut feeling, basically they just invested. Yeah.
It just
I,
works. I mean, it's a, like we said, it's a universe's way of guiding, us to
exactly.
our destinations. And the more you listen to it, I think the more it responds to you. That's the way I
Exactly.
see
Yeah.
it.
I mean, honestly, look, you shouldn't praise for any success. You shouldn't wait for anyone to applaud you. You shouldn't wait for people to kind of come and give you anything. You just need to do whatever you love, just like you said. And I think the universe will answer you back. And then, yeah, that's
Absolutely. And I really want, so we've done a lot of heavy discussion, till now,
yeah.
which is most, but I want to have, like small nuggets about what do you think a metaverse is?
That's an excellent question. So, metaverse, my metaverse that I built again early in the year was different than others. So, I was approached by even top social media companies trying to invest or get an equity in my company. So, what I came up with this model, Aleph, was imagine Sandbox meets with Pokemon Go and with this AI, right? So it's like becomes the next level of social media interactable
Interaction.
platform. Yes, yes. But what was unique in my metaverse was a cross chain. So I was early to kind of integrate like a Binance, Solana, Ethereum, and other chains, but giving people as much variety in a logical, obviously, framework so the system doesn't fail. But I think the more currencies and options you give the people, the better will be this a high level adoption of metaverse and products. By crypto, I don't only mean crypto, obviously. I'm still thinking to integrate also some sort of a master or the Visa card or other standard payment models as well. So I
Mhm.
think we need to not forget our history, because you know what happens with countries and nations that people forget a history. So instead of forgetting that there were also those guys who were early, like PayPal and others, I think we just need to embrace them, but also
Yes,
have the new things as well and give the options for the humanity to choose. I mean, maybe sometimes it's more comfortable for me to use PayPal. Maybe it's more comfortable sometimes for me to use the crypto. So I think
exactly.
with the
Yeah,
regulator,
yeah. Yeah, please go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I think it should we should be given a choice, Alec, just to keep
Yeah.
it short, basically.
Yeah. So I was saying that you have to understand from a user point of view. People have developed. Let's just say that people have evolved over Web 1 and Web 2 and now in Web 3. So their
Mm-hmm.
experience of Web 2 is very polished now because the platforms of native Web 2 platforms
Mm-hmm.
have evolved over a period of time, and now they give
Exactly.
a seamless experience. And
Yeah.
from a seamless experience, now you have to make them people shift from Web 2 to Web 3. Let's just say that transition. So till the time we are able to give people that experience,
Mm-hmm.
that level of experience, at least match it, if not, like go
Yeah.
above and beyond it,
Mm-hmm.
people will not, adopt. I mean, that's why we are seeing all those challenges, because there are a lot of people trying to build in silos without trying to
Mm-hmm.
understand how can they actually have that consumer or user come onto that platform, right?
Exactly.
And yesterday was on a call sometime somewhere. I was telling that de-jargonize it. Don't call it NFT. Don't call it blockchain. Don't call it decentralization, because except the people who are building in Web 3,
Mm-hmm.
rest of the world will not understand what we are saying,
Okay.
right? Right. And the number of people in Web 3, like if you see at the global scale, are very limited, compared to Web 2. So the
Mm-hmm.
narrative has to be something which people will understand easily. The dialogue, the language has to be something which adds value to them. And just saying, like NFT loyalty points and stuff like that, people will be a little more embarrassed. I mean, look at Starbucks, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
put
exactly, man.
$1 billion,
That's
right?
great. Yeah, yeah.
Happened.
Yeah, let's continue that part, Alec. I think we need to share with the audience that it comes with big brands and adoption, right? Different kind of NFT loyalty programs or kind of NFT native communities with Board Ape
Yeah.
Yacht Club or others. So I think the more such big organizations embrace this Web3
Yeah.
revolution and these new ways of kind of monetizing and giving back to the community, the better our world and the more interactive and interesting it will become, right? Because let's say past I think before blockchain and this stuff, I don't feel like we had serious. I mean, AI came, obviously, not comparing, but come on, right? Before blockchain, what was making you exciting? Did you have any other kind of something tangible and exciting? Even Nvidia, what chips weren't selling before Bitcoin mining started.
Yes.
Like, but
Yes.
Bitcoin mining rush, it became the next gold rush, and then steeping down before AI, and then now with AI up. So obviously, we are living this life, this kind of world economy in some sort of a cycles, I would say. This technological innovation cycles that are driving, I think, the next industrial and tech revolution in the world. So yeah, I think we just need to educate those people. Look, at the end of the day, I have a lot of friends who work with big companies like Uber and then kind of, I don't know, Google, Amazon, and others. But what it's not that they don't want, but it's also that bureaucracy and the way we need to find out to explain them, simplify. Because you can't imagine the guy who was 30, 40 years doing the same process to suddenly wake up tomorrow and understand how this new world works. Because we have been
Yes.
there, you have been there, I've been there a long time, right? So we
Yeah.
are kind of, we are not new people there. We are among the
Yeah.
pioneers. We understand how the things are moving. But for them, it's our how to say our duty is also to educate these people in a very simple and understandable words, so they can go to their management and say,
Yeah.
look, I got this, and again, not necessarily, I don't want our names and anything to be there, but for more like for the humanity, for the policy, for driving forward. So what if we can have that same platform or something that people will meet with us, share votes, and then they will deliberately just deliver that to their management. Then suddenly you will see more and more adoption happening. Like,
Oh,
I don't know.
exactly, exactly.
That's
Fantastic point. So I think, but here, we will also have to credit a lot of big brands who took that ownership. Like Lamborghini came up with their own NFT. Minting. Mustang, the big muscle car from
exactly.
Ford, also came out. With they sold about, I don't know, they came up with about 500 NFTs. I mean, the project was success or a failure. That's a different thing. But they're trying, right? I think Skoda came up with their Skodaverse as a metaverse platform. Plus, they also launched their NFTs. So,
Even beauty brands, Alex, like
yeah,
surprisingly,
absolutely.
I think it was L'Oreal or something. They launched something with AI and some NFT drops got released. It's like a CES conference. I remember the last one, but yeah, but even those guys are not. You would think, okay, what other kind of innovation they will bring in a
Yeah,
beauty process? But look, those guys came up with some sort of an AI
yeah,
assistant or something that gives you recommendations. They could show your face, your hairs, your makeup, and then you earn some NFT points, some loyalty or something. Was quite interesting, actually. I wasn't expecting seriously from the beauty industry, but well done. I mean,
Oh,
this is
absolutely, absolutely. So what happens is that when people are trying to create something, and when especially when big brands do it, right? Then there is a trickle down effect. The only thing that we need is one or two or five maybe big successful examples,
100%.
to give it to a mass adoption, right? And once there is, then there is no looking back. I mean, a lot of people are now trying to build the use cases because it's dry, not too much funding. So eventually now nobody from a VC world will, you cannot depend on the VC world.
No,
You
no,
have
no.
to have the
Especially
money
with the
coming
crash,
from
man. Let's be honest. With this SB, like sorry, yeah, I mean
FTX crash.
SBF scandal as well. SBF scandal, and then Silicon Valley Bank as the VB scandal and crash there as
Yeah,
well. More and more
yeah,
VCs are. It's very hard, right? Like I don't know. You can read a lot of stuff. It might be easy in some, might be hard, but overall, I think on average, it's much harder. You see my point?
yeah.
To get the VC money and
Oh, absolutely. So now what will people will have to do is bring out the money, from the user's pocket, and user will only spend when they see value in it.
exactly.
It'll just not happen, just like that.
No, I totally agree. We are living in new era. I think user economy will gonna drive forward these new developments, and that's why when we started, I talked about this crowdfunding. Right, more and more I see there's like a movie crowdfunding, music crowdfunding, kind of a I don't know social cause and other project crowdfunding. Even mostly surprisingly blockchain already, because the back in the years like 2013 forward, I wasn't seeing a lot of stuff built on the blockchain crowdfunding kind
Yeah.
of formula, but I think this is becoming more and more trendy recently, especially. So I see a lot of
Absolutely, absolutely.
interesting developments
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So what happens is we are getting there. It's going to be slow, and I think 1 hour has already passed, and and just did not realize. I just looked at the timer here. So
No worries.
I know
So
we
I
are
was,
quickly at the
let's
end.
do second as well. I think people will appreciate
Yeah.
second series. So we'll connect maybe in a month. So I'm speaking in Warsaw in I think May 12, 13, MBX Warsaw. So shoot out to also MBX Warsaw team, and also in May 15 to 60 I will sorry 20 15 to 20 I will be in Nice, Monaco, speaking at the Metaverse Entertainment World Summit Monaco. So shoot out to my friends also in Muse. I'll be back sometime close to the end of May. Stuff to share with you. Seriously, I've built a lot of solutions for those two events. Usually, what's unique about my metaverse, Alex, I'm collaborating with those companies for a few years already. They are my partners, so they
Uh-huh.
have their spaces. My metaverse is one-on-one virtual replication of the world. Again, earlier than the people were doing. Like I created the same Bitcoin
Mhm.
set in New York in my space with the same representation of the buildings. So it basically clones the same city environment and puts the AI humans there. So I'm not
Mhm.
using any Ready Player Me avatar or something. I'm using my own
Okay.
AI, basically avatars and humans there. And so I got their AI humans, I got the sponsor logos, everything like that environment, but exactly the same place. So for example, if it was Hermitage Hotel, then in Monaco it was that area. It was in Warsaw. It was the last year was I remember some cinema area, so I recreated
Okay.
that area. So it looks like a GTA San Andreas type of.
Okay.
I'll try actually to share maybe.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just going to say that. Let's
Yeah, yeah.
show
I'll
it in the
try,
next
yeah.
podcast. Not now. Maybe in the
No,
next
not
podcast.
now. Okay. Yeah, I'll share a video. Like there's this, everything is documented. Basically, our video team is doing great. So we got videos for every use case. So I'll be
Yeah.
happy to share. But beyond that, Alec, I got some interesting news to share after those events, because I'm nominated twice. I forgot to say yesterday I got second nomination for Warsaw event as well under AI innovation blockchain category in Warsaw, and in
Wow.
yeah, and in Monaco I'm nominated for AI music category basically. So I'll share.
Fant- Fantastic. You're everywhere. I know, you're very busy person, and we've all got
Thanks.
some amazing comments as well. Says Catalina saying very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you, Catalina.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Alex,
yeah.
do you have any questions from the audience?
No, I think everybody has been so appreciative. So what
Okay,
we have is, people saying look forward to this, and
nice.
then interesting talk, and then
Okay,
Shalab says that quite an
thank
informative
you so
session.
much, everyone. Yeah,
Very insightful. Yeah, so I think everybody kind of got what they were looking for instead of asking questions. I mean, this is to the heavy talk that
and
we're
I'm
gonna.
really excited. People stayed until now. Thank you, everyone, for like high kind of interaction and engagement. Usually, at the end, I've done a lot of podcasts. I have my own podcast stuff. Usually, at the end, it drops, right? But now here, I think thank you, everyone, for your active kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
participation.
Absolutely. And I just want to say one more comment. We see on LinkedIn, but not in the in this tool. So this it is by a person named Piyush Singh. He's saying absolutely inspiring event. Big thanks to Alek and Dr. Suren for
Oh, thank
organizing
you.
it.
Yeah.
I have truly gained invaluable insights from being here. So thank you
Okay.
so much, Piyush.
Appears appreciated, man. I'm really happy, guys. You are the driving force for both Alec and myself. I think with your comments, with your feedback, with your nice words, that small even like and share, I think it means the world for us. I know as a fellow kind of podcast creator, and kind of yeah. So I think yeah, let's keep cheering for Alec's great podcast, the future of web. The name by itself, I really love it, man. I will be very honest
Thank
with you.
you.
It's very future oriented, futuristic. Hopefully you get also a lot of traction, sponsors, partners, and make this we already made this a global success with the speakers, with global movement. But yeah, hopefully it raises even more, and you can kind of make this as a even a full-time kind of a work and stuff for yourself, and educating basically people. So
Yeah.
and then for the next talk, I forgot to say we'll talk also about my educational platform. It's a full scale university based on blockchain. So I'll be happy
Mhm.
to even do a onboarding or something for future web team to that modules and
Oh,
can.
fantastic. I'm already getting ideas now because, I'm tying up with different institutions here in India, where we're doing a few
It's
things.
100% working, man. I got top brands like that same Milan fashion, kind of a some Dubai brands. Like there are a lot of strong use cases. Allah, if you want, you can
Fantastic.
hit me up after this call. We can definitely book a session and discuss. I think it's gonna be huge. That's the other thing that's missing on this platforms, education.
Fantastic, fantastic. I think we've got a lot of things to discuss,
Yeah.
today, obviously, and for the next time. I already see this next one or two episodes coming in.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Suren,
Thank
for
you.
coming
Thank you.
in.
I appreciate it,
Thank
man. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure,
Thank you.
pleasure, pleasure. Thank you so much, audience. I'm going to Suren quickly take you to the backstage. All right. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining in and for your insightful comments, for interaction. Right. Thank you. And like Suren said, it's your appreciation which gets all of us creators going. Right. So thank you very much, and see you on the other side. Right. And let me just quickly play this out.